I really love this question because it lets me answer something that gets asked a lot. And it basically about like, well, what do I do if I'm down to two choices and I always seem like I pick the wrong one, right? Like these choices are so similar, I don't know how to tell them apart, and I feel like I'm always picking the wrong one. Well, first of all, that's probably not true. And that's why you should star questions where you are kind of down to two choices you go. Because I bet that you're just not remembering all the times that you got down to two and you did pick the right one because you're not reviewing them because you just see it as a right answer. So, just that's a little bit of a bias of numbers there. But the real situation does come up, right, where we do have choices that seem similar and we have to distinguish between them. And this is a great example of how I approach things. I still use dumb summaries. I'm always trying to keep things as dumb as possible for as long as possible to save my brain power. It's a finite resource. Once it's gone, I'm just like a zombie. So I'd rather not be a zombie by section 3. I've got a long way in this test to go. So what am I being told to do? I need to logically follow the preceding sentence. So what is the preceding sentence about in the dumbest way possible? In return for the server's work, the position paid quite well for the time, $17.50 a month plus tips, meals, room and board, laundry service, and travel expenses. So my dumb summary is that this is about money. Okay? Which choices are about money? Choice A says, the growth of Harvey's business coincided with the expansion of the Santa Fe Railway, which served large sections of the American West. It's about a railroad, not about money. B, Harvey would end up opening dozens of restaurants and dining cars, plus 15 hotels over his lucrative career. It's about opening things, use the word lucrative, but it's not really about money. Or I should even say maybe it's about pay. C, these benefits enabled the Harvey girls to save money and build new and exciting lives for themselves in the so-called Wild West. So that seems okay. Let's keep going. D, the compensation, the pay, was considered excellent at the time, though it may not seem like much money by today's standards. So that also is talking about how much they're paid. So just by a dumb summary, I'm down to two choices, which is great. That's what a dumb summary should do. Occasionally it gets us down to one choice, but 50-50 is still amazing. But we can figure this out, okay? We can now put these two choices that remain next to each other mentally and think, well, they're not the same. That's impossible, right? The SAT can't give us two identical choices and expect us to choose between them. There must be a difference. And we should always try to think in dumb terms to notice the difference. So what do I see next? Well, choice C is saying positive things. These benefits enabled the Harvey girls to save money and build new and exciting lives for themselves in the so-called Wild West. Positive. Choice D. The compensation was considered excellent at the time. Positive. Though it may not seem like much money by today's standards. A little bit mixed, right? So it's good, but it's not that much. So what's going on there? That's weird. Well, that's a difference. Now, I would go to the sentence originally and see, all right, well, what kind of vibe are they going for here? In return for the server's work, the position paid quite well for the time. $17.50 a month, plus tips, meals, room and board, laundry service, and travel expenses. That seems positive. No negative in there, right? So why would I introduce a negative in this other sentence? I wouldn't. I should be dumb. Positive should be followed by positive, right? Unless I have some evidence that I need a negative, I'm not going to pick it. I'm not going to introduce it. And just like that, I've got the right answer. And it turns out that these choices that seemed similar really weren't. And the reason many people can't tell similar choices apart is they're thinking too much about it, right? You're looking at very narrow, specific ideas. When what we really want is general things, at least to start, right? So tone, positive, negative, neutral, that's a very good way of thinking about things. And right here, it absolutely helped me. It does it on the reading section as well. It's a very common tool that I use, is what's the dumb version of the difference between these two choices. If I can think about the dumb version, I'm probably going to be able to find a similar idea in the lines themselves and see a difference that I wasn't able to see originally. You don't need to see every single difference right away. You use a process to uncover things as you go, and that's why being dumb is good. We can always get smarter if we need to as we go, but we want to keep it as simple as long as possible. I also think a reason people get this wrong is that they don't follow instructions. It says which choice most logically follows from the previous sentence, so I only gave you the previous sentence. Yeah, the rest of this paragraph, this passage is about Harvey and his businesses. And so these choices might seem like traps because they are also talking about Harvey, but that's not our task. So you got to stay on task as well. I really love this question. Really good. Good job, SAT, writing this one. This is really good. The answer is super obvious, but yet it's very easy to get this wrong if you're not thinking about the right things and you don't have a good process.